Today's video is something I've wanted to do for a while, but I also have to point out the silliness of the topic itself. There is no objective way to possibly rank the greatest dunkers in NBA history. It essentially boils down to each person's personal opinions. Which dunkers made you ooh and ah the most? The answers are going to be different for basically everyone, so please keep this a fun activity in the comment section, because it's really not that serious. Now, as far as how my list works, here are the things I'm factoring in. 1. How creative the dunkers were. 2. How high of a leaper they were. 3. The power in the dunking. 4. The mesmerizing in-game dunks. And 5. How they typically did in the dunk contest. Obviously, a combination of all of these things is going to be great for a dunker's chances. But you also have to consider how some dunkers will be extremely strong in certain areas while lacking in others. All of it is subject to scale, and this is simply my list based off of this criteria. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10. LeBron James. Two negative aspects are working against him. First is obviously the fact that he's never participated in a single dunk contest. And the second is somewhat debatable, is that he doesn't have a tremendous amount of variety in his dunks. But the areas he specializes in are elevation and power. Simply put, LeBron has some of the most ferocious dunks I've ever seen, and oftentimes they were against all-time great defenders, like Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett, for example. Even without a dunk contest victory on his resume, he still has plenty of thunderous, iconic slams, which makes him worthy of a spot on this list. Number 9. Jason Richardson. If you want creativity, this guy has got it. Although Jason was never considered as a superstar player, for a while he was probably considered as a top dunker in the NBA, as he won several slam dunk contests over the course of his career. Whether it was reverse slams, lob finishes, windmills, or East Bay dunks, Richardson had it all. Relatively, he may have been a bit lacking in the power department, but there's very few dunk variations that Jason couldn't have pulled off. Number 8. Kobe Bryant. As one of the most famous athletes of all time, there's very few things that Kobe is underrated in, but I feel like dunking is one of them. Most lists do not have him in their top 10. But he certainly belongs, as he had an insane combination of creativity, power, and originality. For example, his baseline dunk against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he sucked the gravity out of the target center, is among the most impressive and difficult dunks that I've ever seen in my life. If longevity counts for anything, the Mamba has that as well, as he was posterizing defenders from the age of 18 all the way until he was 34. Add in the fact that he was the 1997 dunk contest champion, and I'm very comfortable with his placement at 8. Number 7. Ja Morant. At only 6 foot 3 inches tall, Morant is one of those players that gives the incredible illusion that he's flying through the air. He is the first person on my list since LeBron to fail to win the dunk contest, but personally, I don't think he needs it to earn this spot. Quite simply, Ja has some of the nastiest, ugliest, and disrespectful dunks that I've ever seen. Now, if he can just stop bringing the heat on Instagram, and instead consistently bring the heat on the court, he might actually climb up a few spots on the list before his career is all said and done. Number 6. Blake Griffin. This man absolutely took the NBA by storm with his awe-inspiring dunk fest. The way he absolutely humiliated guys like Timothy Mozgov and Kendrick Perkins is something I will never forget. Like LeBron, creativity isn't his strong suit, but he consistently made stadiums explode with his rim-shaking slams. During his first few seasons in the NBA, no big man was safe, a painful lesson that the Lakers' Pau Gasol learned the hard way. And with his dunk contest victory in 2011, I believe he makes a solid choice at 6. Number 5. Michael Jordan. I can hear it now. Jordan fans scrambling to grab their torches and pitchforks. Personally, I think Jordan gets a little extra credit on most dunkers' lists simply because of who he is and the appeal of his superstardom. With that being said, I'm still comfortable having him as a top 5 dunker, considering the fact that he made a living posterizing some of the greatest rim protectors of all time, like Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, and Dikembe Mutombo. If the list was simply the most iconic dunkers of all time, Jordan would easily be on top, as he has his insane cradle dunks and his dunk contest winning free throw line dunks. Although MJ excelled in creativity and leaping ability, you could argue that he left some to be desired in the power department, as he would somewhat regularly finish softly when he actually got to the rim. Number 4. Shawn Kemp. He was one half of the original Lob City in Seattle, and he was simply one of the meanest power dunkers of all time. For some reason, Kemp always tried to dunk the basketball as if the rim had just insulted his mama. Obviously, we have to consider his slam on Alton Lister, which is quite possibly the most disrespectful dunk in the history of the game. Naturally, with this placement on my list, I believe he's the greatest dunker to never win a dunk contest, but quite frankly, I'm extremely comfortable with that being the case. Number 3. Zach LaVine. Zach is one of those rare breeds who had a little bit of everything, like leaping ability, creativity, elegance, and even some ferocity. He did mind-blowing things that we once thought were impossible, like windmill dunks from the free throw line. In 2016, he won his second straight dunk contest championship, and he did it over quite possibly the most impressive loser in dunk contest history, Aaron Gordon. And honestly, I was one of the few people who was actually okay with it. Very few players have been able to glide through the air the way that this man did, and for that, he's certainly top 3 for me. Number 2. Dominique Wilkins. Personally, I've had this man firmly in my number 2 spot since the early 2000s, and that's mostly for the fact that he has an argument for being the best in-game dunker of all time. Wilkins would try to dunk on anyone and everyone during his prime, and although he had power that was similar to Shawn Kemp, he also had a flair and gracefulness reminiscent to Julius Erving. He won 2 dunk contest championships during his career, and many people believe that he should have won his 3rd in his classic battle with Michael Jordan in 1988. There's a reason why the NBA's official YouTube page has a 10-minute compilation video of just Dominique dunking, and it's because he was one of the most frequent, aggressive, and unforgiving dunkers of all time. It takes a darn near perfect dunker to keep the human highlight film from taking the number 1 spot. More on that in a bit. But first, here's my list of honorable mentions. Just how much of a dumb, no good, filthy casual am I for not having these guys in the top 10? Let me know below. Number 1. Vince Carter. Was there ever any doubt? Vinsanity was the perfect blend of force and style. In 2000, he put on one of the most incredible and memorable shows in dunk contest history that had some of the most genuine reactions of amazement that I've ever seen from a spectating audience. Then you have to look at everyone he absolutely abused with his awesome in-game dunking, as he regularly made 7-footers look completely helpless as they stood in his path. If there was any doubt that he was the greatest dunker of all time heading into the summer of 2000, he completely ended that when he leapt clear over the 7-foot 2-inch Frederick Weiss, which has since been named the Dunk of Death, and is seen by many, including yours truly, as the greatest dunk of all time. When it comes to the art of the slam dunk, Vince Carter is the Leonardo da Vinci. I would say that he was the Michael Jordan of dunking, but Michael Jordan is already here. So, yeah. What do you guys think? How would you change up the list? And who wasn't on it who deserves to be on it? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.